Hello all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about the MOAC, Multi-Org Access Control, that is accessing of multiple operating units using a single responsibility. So I'll explain you the steps involved in enabling of multi-org access to a particular responsibility, and then I'll show you like how you can access those multiple operating units using a single responsibility after the setups are done. So the first thing is you need to create a something called security profile to group your operating unit so that you can access all those operating units using a single responsibility. So I'll take an example. Uh, yeah. So this is my kind of a group structure. Here you have something called Reliance INR ledger, Reliance USD ledger. Under Reliance Canadian ledger, under this ledger I have these legal entities, and again these legal entities I have these operating units. So now what I'll do is in my current example, I'll pick up these three operating units: Reliance Postpaid, which is under Reliance INR ledger, Reliance Telecom, and Reliance Oil and Gas under Reliance USD ledger. I'll try to group these three into a security profile and assign that particular security profile to a particular responsibility, and then I'll show you that using that particular responsibility you'll be able to access all three operating units using a single responsibility. Okay, so first of all I show you that I have individual responsibilities for these three operating units, and I'll take AP as an example, and using individual responsibility I'll be able to access only a single OU, and then I'll create a separate responsibility. I'll just give a name as a payable super user global, and then I'll assign this security profile where I have grouped these three operating units, and using that particular responsibility I should be able to access all these three OUs. Let us see how we can do that. So here you can see I have three different responsible: payable supervisor Reliance Oil and Gas USD, this one, and then payable supervisor Reliance Postpaid INR, this one, and then payable supervisor Reliance Telecom USD. For using these individual responsibility, if I go to say invoice workbench, I can access only a single operating unit, Reliance Oil and Gas. And then we'll take just one more example: payables Reliance supervisor Reliance Postpaid INR. Go to invoice entry. I mean, I'm just taking invoice workbench as an example, but you can go to any other menu, whether it could be a payments menu or a setup menu. Wherever there's an operating unit field, you'll be able to see just one operating unit. You'll not be able to see any drop down because there is no, these responsibilities are not MO security enabled. Okay, now as I said, I'll try to create a security profile by grouping these three operating units. So the first step is to create a security profile. So go to US HRMS responsibility, security profile. So just give any security profile. So I'll give a name as a Reliance Global, and my business group is Vision Corporation. I mean, even though in my PPT I had mentioned Reliance Group org structure, but I have created all these things under Vision Corporation. And under leave all these things as default, and under security type select this one, secure organization by organization hierarchy and or organization list, and select your three operating units: Reliance Oil and Gas, Reliance Postpaid, Reliance, the other one, Reliance Oil and Gas, Reliance Postpaid, and Reliance Telecom. Okay, save this. So that means now when I assign this security profile to my responsibility, using that particular responsibility, I'll be able to select all these three in the drop down. And I do not want the business group also to become in the drop down. So just check this particular checkbox, exclude business group. Otherwise, in the drop down, I'll be able to see 4 values: Reliance Oil and Gas, Reliance Prepaid, Reliance Telecom, and Vision Corporation. But I do not want Vision Corporation to come in the drop down, so I'm selecting this exclude business group checkbox. Save this. And the next step is run security list maintenance program. It's very important. If you do not run this particular security list maintenance program, then you will not be able to select this security profile in the next step. So run this program, view requests, submit new request, security list maintenance, that's the name of the program, and generate list for one named security profile, and give the name of your security profile and leave all other values at default. Click on OK, submit, wait for this particular program to be completed. Only once this particular program is completed, you can proceed to the next step. Okay, it's completed. Now I have grouped those 3 OUs into a security profile, ran this concerned program, and then assign MO security profile to the concerned responsibility. So now what I'll do is I'll create a new responsibility by name, say payable supervisor, say global, and for that particular responsibility I will assign this MO security profile of Reliance Global, so that using that particular responsibility I'll be able to select all these 3 OUs. So using a sysadmin responsibility, I'll try to create my new payables supervisor Reliance Global. So what I'll do is I'll just copy my menus and everything from my existing payables Reliance oil and gas responsibility. Say maybe this is the responsibility. Maybe I'll just say payable supervisor Reliance Global. Just say Shift F5, which will copy the values from the previous query, whatever I did, which is Reliance payable supervisor Reliance oil and gas. Again, just to Shift F5, change the responsibility group. Again, put your cursor here, Shift F5, Shift F5. So Shift F5, just copying the values from my previous F11, which is payable supervisor Reliance oil and gas. Yeah, now save this. Okay, reports should be payables. Save this. Now, for this particular responsibility, assign the MO security profile. My MO security profile name is Reliance Global. Reliance Global. Save this. Okay. Now assign this responsibility to my user ID. Payables Reliance Global. Okay, now try to log into this particular responsibility and let's see. Payable supervisor Reliance Global. Go to invoices, entry, invoices, and you can see the operating unit is a drop down, and when I click on drop down, I'm able to see Reliance Oil and Gas, Reliance Postpaid, and Reliance Telecom. So if I select say Reliance Postpaid and click on OK, so now this particular row is specific to this OU. So your drop down of your supplier site and which are OU specific, you'll be able to see only the values which are defined under the particular OU. So similarly, you can go to see any setup responsibility. Setup menu. So maybe setup options, financial options. So in the drop down, you'll be able to see all the 3 OU. So if I select the Reliance Oil and Gas and click on Find, it will show the setups of Reliance Oil and Gas. Similarly, if I click on drop down and select Reliance Telecom, it shows the details of the Reliance Telecom OU. So this is how you are able to select different operating units using a single responsibility. This is from the subledger perspective. Now, if you want to have a similar functionality within the general ledger, so that is grouping of the ledgers using a ledger set and assign that particular ledger set to a responsibility, and then you can see using that particular responsibility how you can access multiple ledgers. So if you look at GL, I have Reliance INR ledger, Reliance USD ledger, and Reliance Canadian ledger. I have 3 different ledgers. Now what I did is I've created a ledger set to group my 2 ledgers. So let me just pick up any of my GL responsibility, and I'll show you the ledger set. And the name of the ledger set is Reliance Overseas. That's the name of the ledger set. And using this particular ledger set, I have grouped Canadian ledger and USD ledger. So using this particular ledger set, I group these 2 ledgers. And the important thing is you can group only those ledgers in a ledger set which share the same chart of accounts and calendar and period type. If you have a ledgers which have a different chart of account, then you cannot group those ledgers into a ledger set. So again, you can group your primary ledgers as well as the second ledgers also in a single ledger set, as long as your chart of accounts, calendar, and period type are same for those ledgers. If they are different, whether it's a primary ledger or second ledger, you cannot group them. So in my case, the chart of accounts of my Canadian ledger and USD ledger are same. So that's the reason I'm able to group them. My chart of account structure is slightly rather than chart of accounts, my calendar is slightly different for my Reliance INR ledger. Hence, I was not able to select Reliance INR ledger in my ledger set. I was able to group only these 2 ledgers where chart of accounts, calendar, and period type are same. Okay, so this is my ledger set. I'd already created, and I'll also show you the profile option. And I have created a responsibility by name general ledger. I have general ledger supervisor Reliance USD, which have access to USD ledger. I have responsibility general ledger supervisor Reliance Canadian ledger, which have access to Canadian ledger. I have created a responsibility general ledger supervisor Reliance Overseas, and for this particular responsibility, I have assigned Reliance Overseas as my GL data access profile option. So I can show you that. So general ledger Reliance Overseas GL data access set. So when you are assigning a GL data access set profile option, within the dropdown you'll be able to see both ledgers as well as the ledger set in the dropdown. So I have, instead of selecting a particular ledger, I have selected the ledger set of Reliance Overseas, which is my ledger set. So here you can see you'll be able to see your second ledgers, primary ledgers, your ledger set, everything in the dropdown. So now using this particular responsibility, general ledger Reliance Overseas, I should be able to select both your Reliance USD ledger and Reliance Canadian ledger using a single responsibility. So now if you click on the drop down, I can see Canadian ledger and USD ledger. Again, ledger parameter being a mandatory in all the screens. So I can, at any particular point in time, even though I have 2 ledgers in the drop down, at any particular point in time, I can select only one ledger. So if I select Reliance Canadian ledger here, all the transactions, all the journal lines, whatever I enter here, fall under your Reliance Canadian ledger. Similarly, if I select Reliance USD ledger, the journal lines, whatever I enter here, falls under your USD ledger. So this is how you create your ledger set to group the ledgers and assign that ledger set to a GL responsibility so that you can access multiple ledgers using a single responsibility. Whereas in the sub ledgers, you group the operating units using a MO security profile and assign the test security profile to a particular responsibility so that you can access multiple operating units using a single responsibility. So this is how you enable your multi-org access control in Oracle e-business. So thank you. Thanks for watching my video. For interesting videos on Oracle financials, please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.